So all you dudes that have been going to the gym have seen this sort of triangle, right? Where it's, you can only have two. You can never truly have all three. And it's either natural, big, or jawline and abs. Okay, because if you're natural and you're big, then you're most likely gonna have a lot of fat. And this was exactly this spot that I was in, is that I would be so embarrassed of how my face would look and wearing all my clothes at school. But if I had to take my shirt off, I'd feel like the most confident guy in the room because I had the best body, I had the most muscle, but I was natural and my face was puffy, bloated, and I looked kind of fat until I took my shirt off, right? This is how a natural bodybuilder looks. Or you could be kind of skinny with less muscle mass, but you're at a lower body fat percentage, giving you the defined jawline, the abs, the vascularity, all of that. But then you're not really gonna be big, you know what I mean? Like, you wanna be big too. So then, if you want both, you have to inject yourself. You have to take some sort of steroids, right? Because then you can be huge muscle bellies, fullness, and still have your vascularity, shredded abs, and you get both, right? But I think I've developed a system that I would say personally is able to let you have all three. To be natural and big and still have the face card, right? You want to still be able to pull baddies without being some weird antisocial, semi-fat gym bro. So the number one thing that I need you to understand and get through your head is that the most important thing for this whole entire video is it is 99% in your diet. Okay, what you eat and what you drink and consume is what your body turns out to be. And similarly, as we know, what you think and your thoughts becomes your brain and your reality in turn. Okay, same thing with food. Whatever you eat, the body becomes. So it's an outwards reflection of what you're putting in. Everyone knows this. So the very first thing that I did is I cut out alcohol completely, okay? Alcohol is so bad for so many reasons. Number one, you're not gonna be able to actually gain any muscle if you're still drinking alcohol. And not only that, but alcohol makes you hold on to water and bloats you, dehydrates you. And that's why, you know, you have the acne and you have the bloated, puffy face that you hate so much. I promise you, if you cut out the alcohol completely, you will start to shred down and lose that fat on your face. Alcohol is gonna nuke your testosterone and it's gonna promote estrogen, which you don't want as a guy because that's the girl hormone. And it's gonna cause all that water retention. And to add on to this, you need to cut out the highly palatable foods. And what I mean by highly palatable is mixing fat with carbs. So you think about any fried food. Maybe you go to fucking Taco Bell or Applebee's and you get your mozzarella sticks that have no nutrients whatsoever. It's literally just fat, cheese, fried in more oil and fat and caked on with a bunch of breadcrumbs with seed oils. You know it's bad for you. Anything that's oily or deep fried or heavily processed, or just any meal that isn't, you know what you should be eating. Eat ground turkey and rice, eat ground beef and rice, eat chicken and rice. All my meals throughout the day, it's one carb source, and I do that for a reason. I only consume rice because I noticed that when I was eating bagels and bread and starch and potatoes and all these different carb sources, it was actually confusing my body. And so my skin reacted and I got bloated, all this bad stuff. So if you only stick to one carb source, and this doesn't mean you just have to have white rice. It means like I have pardon me. I have white rice, I have Rice Krispies, because that's still rice. I have cream of rice. I can add blueberries, honey, peaches, whatever you want in there. And then rice cakes. So that's like basically all my carb sources besides the fruit and the honey that I eat. And I do this so that my body gets used to just rice, and it's the cleanest, probably the best for muscle mass, but you need to lock in on your diet. And if you cut out alcohol, it'll be way easier, because I remember in college, whenever I would eat or whenever I would drink alcohol, that would be the only time that I would truly crave any of these fast food or fried food. I remember I always get this Euro place by my dorm that would literally stink. It would get on your fingers for like a month. Like the smell on your fingers, doesn't matter how many times you wash off, not a month, but like literally, realistically, like 2 days, your fingers still smell like stinky Euro meat. The next thing I did is I balanced my potassium to sodium ratio. You might have heard of this. And this can be dangerous because you don't want to do too much potassium, but honestly, if you need to lock in, you need to lock in. So what I would do is eat foods. The easiest way is to just eat more foods that have potassium in it while you're still doing sodium. Because if you just do potassium and cut out sodium, you might have a heart attack and you might die. So you don't want to do that. Eat more bananas, eat more avocados, and eat and drink coconut water. Those are all the foods that I ate, and it works, let me tell you. So limit the processed bullshit. Not even limit, but honestly, bro, it's winter. Winter's coming. Time to fucking lock in. Get rid of that. Remember that you're ditching this identity. You're outsmarting your old frequency, your old identity, to sacrifice for a new identity. That new identity doesn't even know what fast food or processed food or cheat meals even is. You're a different species. You're a dog. You're locked in. You want to beat all of these other dudes, then you got to be willing to sacrifice, man. Step number 2 is going to be fasting and insulin sensitivity, okay? So what I need you to understand is that every time you eat, especially carbs, you spike your insulin. And the more that you spike your insulin over time, day after day after day, the more you're going to become insulin resistant, which can then lead to a plethora of bad things that could happen, such as diabetes or just higher blood sugar and fat and bloatingness, which we're talking about. So the way to combat this is that even on a bulk, even when I'm on this extreme bulk, I'm eating 5,000 calories a day, okay? But I still intermittent fast. It's possible, okay? When you put yourself in this fasted state, and especially on a bulk, it's still important to do cardio, which is another thing for the face, is doing that low intensity cardio. You don't want to be jogging or sprinting. Actually, sprinting is good. We'll talk about that later. But the point is, get on a treadmill, go on the maximum incline, do 3 speed. I only do 15 minutes, and I do that 4 times a week. Even on my bulk, I'm not even trying to lose weight, but I don't want to get fat. And I do this while I'm fasted in the morning, push off my first meal until about noon or 1 p.m.-ish. And then I can eat because I'm sensitive to insulin. Therefore, when I do eat the carbs, they get shuttled into my muscle cells instead of being stored as fat. And this kind of goes without saying, but no snacking, guys, because snacking, like I said, the more times you're spiking your insulin, the more you're just gonna in turn have more face fat, have more bloat and water retention. So just have your meals structured, have 5 meals a day if you're on a bulk, or more, or less, and stick to those meals, time them correctly. And even this cheat code is that I like to have a GDA, or glucose disposal agent, before some of my higher carb meals, okay? So berberine is a supplement that is actually a natural glucose disposal agent, and I'll pop one of those capsules before my higher glycemic index meals, such as my Rice Krispie meal, which I only do before training. Okay, any other time in the day, it would just spike your insulin. That's highly glycemic, a lot of carbs. Wouldn't be good, would be stored as fat, but you can leverage this by taking a glucose disposal agent so that it'll shuttle it into muscle, hopefully. But I only do this before, so have your highest carb meals before and after your workout, okay? Because then you're not gonna get fat, you're going to burn as glycogen in the gym. You need that fuel, you need that energy, and then immediately after, restoring the glycogen stores. As far as just overall skincare, okay, I don't want to get gay here, but seriously, I have never actually seen improvements from using any store-bought, store-brand face wash with a bunch of chemicals. I have a deep distrust for that because it just doesn't make sense, you know? If it really cured you, why would you have to be going and buying more and more and more? You gotta ask yourself, who is profiting off of this, okay? It's all bullshit. It's all the big companies. And if it really worked, you would only need to buy one bottle to make it go away forever. Otherwise, it's just gonna keep making it worse and worse. And that's what I've seen. Every time I use any of those, it just makes it worse. So the only thing I actually put on my face, I'll grab it. The ingredients: grass-fed, grass-finished beef tallow, organic beeswax, and honey. This is what our ancestors used, and that is all you need as a moisturizer, maybe in the day. Like to rub a tiny amount, get it on my face, that's all you need. But, which leads me to my next point, skincare. So the only way acne can grow on your face is if you have cheap processed foods, seed oils, or sugar. So cut sugar out. I don't want to hear the excuses, oh, but I need my little sweet treat. You're a man, okay? You think men, your ancestors, were eating sweet tarts and gummy worms? No, they're eating the organs and the entirety of a cow. Okay? Another important thing is that you're getting 8 hours of quality sleep every single night. If you're not repairing, if you're not recovering, then your body's going to be stressed, you're going to have more cortisol, and in turn you're going to have more acne. I will also add to this another dietary thing is that if you are very acne prone, probably stay away from the dairy. Okay? It was hard for me too. You know, you see all these raw milk and all this stuff that milk is really good for you, and it is. However, it honestly just made me fat, and it made me have a lot of acne, gassy, bloated, and I didn't like the way I looked. And once I cut it out, it was like, dude, I'm like shredded all the time and I'm gaining muscle. I don't really feel any different. I just feel better. I don't feel gassy, I don't feel bloated. So if this is you, my African Americans that are lactose intolerant, lock in. This step might be one of the most important, if not the most important step that I need you to understand. You need to breathe through your nose. Literally, most people don't even know that they're mouth breathers or wouldn't consider themselves to be a mouth breather because no one wants to. But whether you realize it or not, even slightly, even if you're just like, I'm still mouth breathing there. You need to literally just, you know how to mew, press your tongue, and literally just like flex your jaw. I look goofy, but you know what I'm saying. You need to breathe through your nose 24/7, mew 24/7, make it a habit, okay? Remember, like we said, your new identity, you're not a mouth breather. You want the best jawline, so you're gonna have to breathe through your nose 24/7. Okay, so be it. It's gonna expand your maxilla, this bone right here. Push it forward. You can literally look it up on YouTube, how it expands and it brings everything in your facial bones over time out more, okay? I used to look like this, you probably saw in the thumbnail. But once I started actually knowing how to mew, I literally remodeled and re-sculptured my whole facial structure just by breathing through my nose. And this is the hack that not many people are going to tell you, is that you might be doing this 24/7 and still not be seeing results. It's because you're actually mouth breathing in your sleep when you're not even aware of it for 8 hours of your whole day. That's going to fuck up your face. So what do? Mouth tape, brother. Go on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. Buy some quality mouth tape. You'll sleep actually a lot better, especially if you're someone who snores. I realize that my dreams have also been like crazier because I'm getting so much more oxygen through my nose. And obviously the point of this video is how to transform your face. You're gonna want to chew very hard gum. This gum is specifically designed for jawline chewing, for jawline training and facial definition. And I'm pretty sure it said on the thing that it is 10 times as tough as a normal piece of gum. So it's literally like 10 pieces of gum condensed into one tiny piece of gum. And now you don't even need to really do something like this. You can get mastic gum. I was a big fan of that. Chewing that, sipping cold water makes it hard. You chew on it, and this is literally training your muscles like you would in the gym, training your jawline muscles to get that shredded, defined, muscular pit bull jaw that you want. And so even if you don't have gum or you don't want to get gum, just take time to chew your meat that you're eating. If you're having steak, I eat steak every day. Chew the little fat cap. That's like gum. That's like natural gum right there. Take your time, really chew it, and you'll see that you're training your muscles. Your jaw will be sore, but that's a good thing. It's a muscle that must be trained. As a man, you want a strong, defined jaw, especially if you're getting into fighting, because you don't want a weak little jaw that you could glass chin and get knocked out right away. Another thing that I kind of dabbled with is the whole gua sha or the facial massages, and I will say they do actually work. I don't do it as much anymore, but look up a gua sha, you can buy that. I like to do these certain exercises, one like this, you know, this bone right here, and then right here along the jaw, and you're really just draining the lymphatic storage or the fluid that is trapped up in your face. Brings me to my next step, which is the hormone optimization, okay? Now with your hormone optimization, you want to optimize a few things: testosterone, IGF-1, and growth hormone. When you naturally optimize your testosterone, go get your blood work. It's worth it, I promise. See what your levels are at. If you qualify, maybe even hop on TRT if you're that fucked, if you're like 200. But if you have normal testosterone for your age, you don't need to hop on any steroids or anything like that. So I would say just naturally optimize it through the diet. It takes patience, but you'll notice it. You'll get denser bones, better skin, and that masculine facial structure. GH is kind of a weird one, but it makes you look healthy. A lot of bodybuilders use this in their health phase as they're trying to, you know, care about their health more than just blasting a bunch of gear and hurting themselves. There's a difference between health and healthy and looking jacked, right? And so they use it for skin quality, actually. And I'm not talking about for you guys to use GH, but I'm simply saying optimize your natural GH. How do you do this? Well, you can do stuff like sprints, sauna, cold shower, or even just lifting heavy ass weights. The reason why my bones have this structure is because I was lifting very heavy, very hard since before, like in the middle of puberty, when I was 14, before I even fully hit puberty. Next thing up, you're gonna wanna get you some of these guys. No, I'm just playing. They seriously do, actually they do increase your testosterone, but my camera died and I need a little break. Anyhow, optimize for healthy, natural, organic fats from steak, eggs, whatever, avocado. You know that cholesterol is a building block to testosterone. Optimize your male hormones, the most important, GH, testosterone, and IGF-1. For GH, like I said, do intermittent fasting and then get 8 hours of quality sleep with that mouth tape, like I said. For testosterone, get your vitamin D plus K2, get your zinc, get your boron, eat a healthy diet, steak, eggs, red meat, rice. Ow. None of what I told you is going to work if you can't remember what I'm about to tell you, okay? The most important that nobody is probably going to tell you is you need to raise your vibrations, raise your frequency, your state of consciousness, okay? Like I said before, you have to outsmart your old frequency, that old version of you. It's constantly just you versus that old state of living, that old state of being. Now this makes sense because physically, cortisol, the stress hormone, is going to build up if you're constantly stressed and you don't have stillness. So you need stillness in your day. Make time to do nothing. Sit with God, say your prayers, meditate, and be still. Because the more stressed you are, the more you tweak about any little day-to-day nuance, the more that cortisol and stress is going to build up, and in turn give you acne, give you bloatingness, and make you want to crave more binge eating or the fried food or whatever it may be, the sugar. So sync with that alpha energy and be disciplined enough not to give in to your cravings or that little inner bitch voice or the sugar or alcohol. That's all childish. And once you can step into your new frequency, you will transform and ascend. Your face is not just genetics, it's your frequency and your habit. Cut the bullshit, optimize your hormones, your face transforms with your body as you gain muscle. And from the thumbnail, I will tell you this, I gained significantly a lot more lean tissue, because most of you might see the thumbnail and think, oh, he was just on a heavy bulk and then he shredded down. I actually gained muscle and gained weight from that first picture to the second picture. So it's possible. If I could do it, you could do it too. If you want me to hold your hand and guide you through this whole step-by-step process, hit the link in the description, book a call. I'll personally mentor you, not just to build your face, but to raise your frequency, your vibration, and transform your body into its ultimate Giga Chad version. Thank you for watching. Till the next one, boys. Let's fucking go!